Hello, hello, and welcome to Awaken the Light Within, the podcast where you turn your pain into your power, your mess into your message, your setbacks into your setups to help you become the true alchemist of your life. My name is Leanne Schweitzer, and I feel so much appreciation to have this very vulnerable conversation with you about one of the most painful times in my life, a time where I hit financial rock bottom. And so I'm titling this episode Awaken the Wealth Within. And so let's get right into it. Actually, let's take a couple of deep breaths in. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in and breathe out. As I take you on a journey to one of the most difficult, one of the most challenging situations in my entire 39 years on planet Earth. And so I want to take you back about 18 months, a little bit less than that ago. I was broken and I was broke. I experienced the first of multiple miscarriages. And when that happened, I had a business and I didn't make any sales in my business for 9 months. 9 months, I had $0 worth of revenue, $0 worth of income, and I had expenses. I didn't have a huge a huge list of expenses because I have an online business. And I had things that I still had to take care of. And after I had the miscarriage, I was completely devastated, heartbroken. I wanted to give up on everything in life. It was one of the most challenging times where I had envisioned this life of our family of four, and it got ripped away in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, right? Every time you breathe in, the only thing you're guaranteed is one more exhale. That's it, one more exhale. That next breath in is not guaranteed. And what I learned from that time is to value the present moment. That's all that we have, right? Everything else is simply a story. Your past becomes a story. Your future, it's not yet here. And so it's a story that you're writing in your head, right? You're planning. And oftentimes, right, we have like 90,000 thoughts in any given day, like 90,000 thoughts. And I heard it's like 75 or 80% of those thoughts are negative and they're repetitive. They're thoughts that you've been thinking on autopilot about the past, replaying experiences, things that you've been through, trauma that you've been through. Like that's a huge one, replaying trauma over and over again and like trying to change the story. And the truth is that you can't change the past. Right? You can't change the past. And what you can do is change the story about the past. change the emotion that's tied to the past. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's worth it though. And it takes time. All good things take time, right? And so after I experienced the deepest loss, I went into this space of depression and sadness, and I didn't want to show up. I didn't want to show up online in my business. I didn't want to show up anywhere really. I didn't, in fact. What's really interesting is that, first of all, I lost my voice when it happened. I couldn't talk. I was like, this is interesting. And my daughter got this cough, and she had this cough, I'm dead serious, for like 2 months, and it was just like this hoarse cough, and it was like I didn't even wanna go out in public because this cough was just like, and she'd never get sick. It was really interesting. She wasn't necessarily sick, she just had this cough, and she just kept coughing and coughing, and so for, like, months, I didn't leave my house. Like, I went to the grocery store, I taught yoga, and that was it. Like, I didn't do anything. I didn't really spend time with anybody. And I just really stopped showing up. And I didn't make any sales in my business for 9 months. And I had just invested in like thousands of dollars to work with an amazing mentor who's one of the top earners in our company. Spent thousands of dollars on that. And then I spent thousands more mastermind. And I had this massive vision to change the world. Like, I came back from that mastermind a different person, and I had this massive vision, and everything just came to a halt. My dreams. I stopped dreaming. My husband, he lost his job and he got a new job, and he was making way less. And then his hours got cut. And man, I held so much shame around this story that had been playing in my head over and over and over again. And I'd honestly never experienced a rock bottom with my financials like this in my entire life. Even growing up, my parents always worked really, really, really hard. My dad would work like 60, 70, 80 hours a week, like 6 or 7 days a week, and to give us everything that we wanted. And so growing up, I always had everything that I wanted. And I got my first job when I was 14 years old, I think. I started working at an amusement park. I loved roller coasters. And so I got a job at an amusement park so I'd get a free season pass. And that was my first job. I was like 14 years old. I wanted a cell phone, and my parents said that if I wanted a cell phone, that I had to get a job and go work for it. And so that's what I did. And then I started eventually working in restaurants, waiting tables, making cash tips, and that was like to pay for my gas and to buy, the trinkets and the clothes and stuff that I wanted. And I always had everything that I wanted. And then I went to college, and I graduated from college, and I'd been working at a restaurant while I was in college, and I had, the majority of my housing and stuff was all paid for. And so I was just earning money at this steakhouse and putting it all into a savings account. And at the time, back in, I was in college 2004 to 2007 ish. And I saved up $10,000 in my bank account at the time. Like, that's a lot of money, right? And so I actually used that money. After I graduated, I got a job offer for $25,000 doing accounting for a heating and plumbing company. And I was like, no, $25,000? Like, I'm making more money at the steakhouse down the street. And so I didn't take the job. I actually took a leap of faith instead. I moved to Colorado, a place I had never been before, and it was like 2008 at this time, right? And the economy is shifting, and I'm so glad that I took that leap of faith because I got the job to somebody else that was in the program with me, the college that I was at, and she actually ended up getting laid off 3 months later. And so I was so happy with my decision. I moved to Colorado with, that $10,000 in my bank account, and then I got a job bartending at the base of Beaver Creek, which is right near Vail and is a very ritzy, like, there's escalators to get up to the ski lifts and stuff. And so it's a very ritzy place. And I was bartending now. And so I'm making like more money than I've ever made. And so, like, I've literally always been financially stable until March 13th, 2020, right? When Roger and I both lost our jobs on the same day. And it was so scary. Like, that sense of security ripped out from underneath us, both of us, and was like, what's next? And in all honesty, that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I was working, it wasn't necessarily a 9 to 5. I was working remotely from home, and there were people working in the office that were working 9 to 5. And so I was doing sales. And so I pretty much got to create my own schedule and do it on my own schedule. And I had to be available basically between the hours of 9 to 5 for any questions and stuff that they had and answering emails and stuff. And I was also like raising my daughter, like trying to work remotely and raise my daughter. And eventually I reached a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice my daughter's childhood. I wasn't willing to put her into, a daycare system. And so I decided to leave that job and search. I knew that there had to be more. I knew that there had to be more. And so eventually I landed in this space of having an online business, creating a personal brand, monetizing it, high ticket affiliate marketing, direct sales. And it was such a game changer. Like, when I saw the amount of money that I could make and be a stay at home mom, the majority of the people that are top earners in this company are stay at home parents that are doing it all. Not I wanna take that back, not doing it all, being it all, right? Because it's not about doing, right? We've been taught by society that we have to do more. And when I became a stay-at-home mom, it was like the complete opposite. It was like taking 10 steps back and slowing down, right? That is life of a stay-at-home parent is slow and intentional, and it's almost like reparenting yourself. You get to step back into that childhood, that childlike sense of play, and engage. And it's been so nourishing to my inner child, healing that inner child, right? And so I'm so grateful for it. And so I got into this business and I had success in the beginning. I made some sales in the beginning, and everything was going really good until it wasn't. And I'm grateful for that time. That's right. I'm grateful for that time, right? Think about it. Think about it for a moment. Jeff Bezos, the creator of Amazon, right? he almost experienced bankruptcy right before Amazon blew up, right? And heard you've heard this story many, many times, right? Think about it. This woman told by a potential investor he didn't think someone would buy from her because of her body and her weight. And after countless rejections, she was on the verge of bankruptcy. And then, do you know what happened? She ends up selling her company to L'Oreal for $1.2 billion. It was one of the largest US acquisitions made by L'Oreal in their history, and that is Jamie Kern Lima. If you haven't read her book, believe it. Her story is incredibly inspiring. She also has a book called Worthy that is so, so inspiring. Another one, right? So she was working at a Starbucks and a YMCA, and she had $35 in the bank. She had $35 in the bank. She gave herself a deadline of when she would quit. She was chasing her dreams, and 2 days before, she landed a role in Gilmore Girls and is now one of the highest paid actresses. That's Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy, right? I'm sure you're familiar with her. She's also in Bridesmaids and like a bunch of comedians. She's one of the funniest human beings, right? The world is full of story after story of people who struggled for years and years and years, right? Think about Harrison Ford, right? He was trying to make a living as an actor for 27 years. 27 years before he scored his first lead role, right? He was getting secondary, low paying or no paying roles for 27 years. Why is it okay that we are inspired by these people? They struggled for years. Why is it that we are inspired, but when it is us, it's unfair? It sucks, right? Don't you realize that you are building your inspirational story? You are literally writing your story. If it was instant success, no one is inspired. No one's inspired. If Harrison Ford got out of acting school and landed Star Wars, no one is inspired, right? 27 years? Wow, that's so inspiring, right? Think about it. Think about it, right? The way it works. God is a perfect father. What is going to drive you into the most purpose-driven life? These failures, they allow you to go through that to help you grow into the person that is qualified to help the people he is calling you to help, right? His ways are higher than ours. He just wants results, and lessons last longer, right? I have learned to be so grateful for the lessons, right? A great scripture that I like is Romans 5:3, right? We glory in our sufferings because we know suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope, right? When you go through things, when you grow through things and survive them, when you overcome them, you're like, okay, what else can I do, right? You have hope for the future. It's not It's not to be mad at the challenges or mad at the obstacles. It's to powerfully move through them so that you have hope to inspire other people with what you went through, right? You can shorten the process, right? And so, what I experience, I know that I am not alone. I know that I am not alone. And I know that everything has happened for me. And I didn't know it until now. I didn't know it until now that every single thing was a stepping stone. Every single thing was either a lesson or an opportunity. And I want to share this story with you to give you hope, to give you inspiration wherever you are in your financial circumstance. Know that your current circumstance does not determine your future. Your current circumstance does not determine your future, right? Because when I think about it, when I reflect back, everything was a stepping stone, right? I invested before I was ready to work with a mentor that was way out of my league, but I knew that I was going to be stepping into his shoes. I knew that I was also going to be just like him. I knew I had found the golden ticket. I knew I had found the most incredible, life-changing opportunity. And so I invested to work with him. And then I invested to go to a mastermind with him. And I invested everything that we had, our savings. I maxed out credit cards to go do this. And it was scary. And it was worth it. It was worth it. Maybe not in the moment when it felt like everything was crumbling, when it felt like my whole entire world was crumbling. It was like quicksand and it was so hard. And it caused friction in my relationship. And it was one of the most challenging times in my life. And then I had another miscarriage 9 months later. I was devastated. And then what happened next? Everything shifted. I met a woman and she shared with me about a near-death experience that she had and her experience with God. And at the time, I wasn't really a believer. I was when I was a young child. I went to a private Christian school where we had to wear uniforms. I'd wear navy blue every single day. All the kids had to wear navy blue uniforms every single day. And when I became a teenager, when I became 13 years old, I rebelled and stopped going to church, stopped believing in God and all of those things. And it's interesting because that's actually when my life started to fall apart. That's when I got eating disorders, which was another one of the most challenging times in my life. And that is actually what helped me to step into the healthiest version of myself. And so, again, I'm grateful for the challenges, grateful for the hardships. And after the miscarriage, I found God again, and everything started to shift. I made my first sale in 9 months, and then I made another sale right after that. And then I got invited to speak on my mentor's platform in front of his organization of like 20,000 people, which is crazy. I'd been manifesting it. I'd been envisioning it. And then life just took a pivot, took a turn. And that season of my life, it happened for me. It didn't feel like it at the time. It felt like it was happening to me. Dagger, 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 dagger. It was like I was like just treading water, like couldn't breathe, like just it was so hard. And if you're in that season, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I know what that feels like. It's hard. I want to remind you though that it's not forever. It's a decision. It's one decision. You are one decision away from a completely different life. After that, I got hired by my mentor. I got hired by my 8-figure mentor. He is the top earner in our company. And I got the opportunity to start closing his sales calls for him. Closing his sales calls for him. Who am I? I'm not the top rank in the company. Not yet, at least. Not yet. Not yet. I'm going there. I know I'm going there. I have a massive vision to make an impact in this world. And I know that I am going to be in the same exact position as him, which is why I said yes in the first place, which is why I risked everything. I'm all about taking leaps of faith, taking big risks, starting before you're ready, doing it scared, doing it afraid, feeling the fear, and doing it anyway. And it always pays off. It always pays off. Right now I'm earning between $250 and $500 an hour, and I'm closing sales regularly. I had a massive breakthrough recently, and everything that I've been envisioning is happening. Like everything is happening. And it took time, right? This is the thing about entrepreneurship, right? On average, it takes 3 to 5 years before most entrepreneurs see a profit. And most people quit before that. They don't have the grit, they don't have the resilience, they don't have the determination, they don't have the strength to keep going, to keep moving through those setbacks, those challenges, those failures, right? Failure is simply feedback. Rejection is redirection. Life is happening for you and not to you. And the moment that you can recognize, the moment that you can realize, everything changes, everything shifts. And so I share my story with you, not for sympathy or, oh, poor me, or no. I share my story vulnerably with you because I know that I'm not alone. I know that there are so many people out there that need this message, that need this reminder that abundance is your birthright. And in order for you to truly experience abundance, prosperity, unlimited abundance, right? You've got to experience the polarity. You've got to experience the hardships, the financial rock bottoms. It's part of the human experience, right? It's part of the human experience. You've got to experience grief in order to fully feel joy, to know what joy feels like. You've got to experience sadness to feel happy. You've got to experience it all. You've got to feel all of the feelings. And that's what we get in this human experience, right? How lucky are we to be alive, to be breathing, to be taking an inhale and an exhale. The gift of your breath, the gift of the present moment, the only moment where life truly exists. And so I want to remind you that your current situation, your current circumstances are not your final destination. You are one decision away from a completely different life. One decision away from a completely different life, right? You've been programmed from a young age, lack and scarcity, by society, by teachers, by parents, by grandparents, right? And it's been passed on through generations, right? Decades, centuries ago, our grandfathers, our forefathers, they lived in the Great Depression, a time where lack and scarcity, that was all that there was. And so that got passed on through generations and through generations and through generations until one person, might call it the black sheep, black widow, whatever, right? That change maker that decides, that makes a decision. No, no more lack. I'm choosing abundance. I'm choosing abundance. And again, it's not going to be easy, right? Some books that I recommend, and I'll put these in the show notes. A Happy Pocket Full of Money, Infinite Wealth and Abundance in the Here and Now. This book will help you understand that money is simply energy. Money is simply a relationship. And newsflash, it's the relationship with yourself, right? When you start recognizing those negative thought patterns, those habits, those judgments, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, right? Those thought patterns, thoughts create things. And the moment that you recognize those thoughts, I love having a rubber band on my wrist, and this is one from like Carrots, like I'm talking like one of those thick rubber bands, right? And so you recognize I'm not worthy, like you hear that thought and you go, that's painful. That's painful, right? You inflict pain, cancel clear, I am enough exactly as I am, right? And you're gonna, when you first start doing this, you're gonna really start inflicting pain a lot. And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how many negative thoughts I have. This is one of the greatest tools I can recommend. And then reading this book, incorporating these affirmations into your daily life. Breath work is another great tool. EFT, emotional freedom tapping. You can go on YouTube and learn the different tools, right? It's meridian points, and you tap on these and you literally like reprogram your mind. Yoga Nidra is another way to reprogram your mind. There's so many different tools out there. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it though. When you shift your mindset, when you finally have that shift into abundance, everything changes. Opportunities are everywhere. Money is flowing. Money is simply energy, right? And so when you change the relationship with yourself, when you fall in love with yourself, everything changes, right? That's what it's all about. God didn't create any rejects or not worthy people. Like every single person was put on this planet for a reason, for a purpose. You weren't just put on this planet to pay bills and die. You were put on this planet for a purpose way bigger than you can even understand. And that's what I realized after my second miscarriage, that I have the golden ticket. I have the keys to the kingdom. Abundance. I have the most incredible business model, and I have this gift that I can give to you. You've got to be open. You've got to be open to receive. You got to be ready to receive. And let me tell you, when you unlock the floodgates, it's so much fun, right? We've been programmed that more money, more problems, right? I want to tell you, money fixes almost every single one of your problems. More money, more solutions, right? More money, more traveling. And you probably heard, right? Money changes people. Rich people are greedy. I grew up hearing those. And here's the truth. Money doesn't change people. Money amplifies people. Right? So if you're a bad person and you get rich, now you're going to be a bad rich person, right? Money, you're going to do evil things with your money, which is what we've witnessed in society in the last however many decades, right? This small group of evil human beings with a lot of money. And so we believe, like, I don't want to be one of those people, right? Rich people are greedy. When I went to that event with my mentor, the mastermind, I was surrounded by many millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires. The conversations were so different. These were the kindest, hugest, heart-led human beings I've ever been around. And they were talking about donations and contributions and giving back, right? Money doesn't change people. Money amplifies you. If you're a good person, we need more money in the hands of good people. That is how you transfer the wealth, which is what I'm doing now, right? Because the only way to truly thrive is if everyone thrives, which is why I'm so passionate. It's not about the money. It's about the freedom. It's about having choice. It's about being able to raise my daughter, being there for every single moment, homeschooling her, unschooling her, doing things differently than society programmed me to do. I question everything that society deems normal. I'm like, wait, no, I need to do more research on that, right? And you should too. I highly encourage you. Question normal, right? Because I'm sure you're familiar with that Dr. Seuss quote, right? We're all weird. We're all a little weird, right? We're all authentic. We're all unique. And that's our superpower. Your uniqueness gets to be your superpower, and you deserve to be paid for that. You deserve to be paid for being you. You need more people, more good people who are authentic, showing up exactly as they are, right? Messy. Life's not always rainbows and butterflies, right? It's difficult and challenged, and we get to show up. We get to be real, have real conversations. I'm not a surface level person. I want to have real conversations with you. I want to know about the things, right? I want to know about the challenges, the hardships. I want to have real conversations. So if you know that you are meant for more, if you are ready to step step into your most abundant, your most wild and free self. Let's connect. I have the most incredible opportunity, and I cannot wait to transform your life. That is my most favorite thing, is watching you transform your life, watching you step into the most authentic version of yourself. And I witnessed my daughter, 5 years old. She is just so authentic, so herself, so present, so in the moment, smelling every flower, right? Just wild and free and happy and excited and sad and angry. And she feels it all, right? She feels it all. And that is what I want to unlock in you. I want you to become the most authentic version of yourself. I truly believe in my heart and soul, the more authentic you are, the more you get paid. Let that land for a moment. You deserve it all. You deserve the life of your dreams. So thank you so much for listening to this very, very raw and real share. I felt a lot of shame around that. I feel like a weight was just lifted off my shoulders. And if this episode impacted you, if you know somebody that this message could help, share this message. I'm on a mission to help you turn your pain into your power, your mess into your message, and your setbacks into your setups for the most incredible future that's wilder than your wildest dreams. Thanks so much for listening. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering you on, and I love you so much.